All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're looking at a moment that really cranked up the political tension. We're talking about a racist social media post that was shared by the Trump White House and the pretty rare, very direct response it got from former President Barack Obama.
Wow, a clown show. I mean, those are some really strong words coming from a former president aimed right at the current administration. So what on earth could have happened to cause such a blunt public statement like that?
To really get what's going on here, we have to rewind a bit and look at the social media post that kicked this whole thing off.
So here's what happened. A post went up on President Trump's official social media, and it was immediately and widely called out for being, well, blatantly racist. It depicted the Obamas as apes. As you can imagine, the backlash was just immediate and incredibly intense. Okay, so this timeline really lays out how this whole thing unfolded. And what's wild is how slowly it was handled. You see the post goes up, and boom, criticism explodes from both parties, almost instantly. But then, there's a full 12-hour gap before it's actually taken down. The refusal to apologize just kept the fire going, and that's what set the stage for Obama to finally speak out more than a week later.
And what's really interesting here is that the backlash wasn't just a one-sided thing. Not at all. The condemnation came fast, and it came from some pretty surprising places.
I mean, just listen to this. This is Senator Tim Scott, who at the time was the only black Republican in the U.S. Senate. He did not mince words at all, calling it the most racist thing he'd seen from that White House. Coming from him, that carried a ton of weight. And it wasn't just him. The criticism from inside the Republican Party kept coming. Senator Roger Wicker from Mississippi also came out and called the post totally unacceptable, which showed this wave of disapproval was really growing inside President Trump's own party.
So, you've got all this pressure building from both sides. How did the Trump administration handle it? And this is a really key detail. The post wasn't deleted right away. It stayed live on the president's social media for a full 12 hours. Just imagine how that amplified its reach and, of course, the growing outrage.
So the story from the administration, well, it started to change. At first, they were just brushing it off as fake outrage. But as more and more people spoke out, the narrative shifted. The new official line was that a staffer had erroneously shared it by mistake.
But even with this whole staffer made a mistake story, President Trump himself, he was not backing down. When a reporter asked him point blank if he made a mistake, his answer was just a simple no. He also made it clear that the staffer wouldn't be disciplined.
So all of this is swirling around, right? And that's when, after more than a week of staying quiet, former President Obama finally weighed in with his first public comments on the whole situation.
And when he finally did speak, his criticism was about something much bigger than just that one post. He basically argued that there was this fundamental loss of shame, a loss of decorum, and a loss of respect for the office of the presidency itself. You see, for Obama, this whole thing wasn't an isolated incident. He framed it as a symptom of a much bigger problem, one that gets at the core values you need to have for public service.
He called the whole controversy a distraction, but a really telling one. He said that he believed most Americans were deeply troubled by this kind of behavior, and he added that he and Michelle Obama would always champion what he called the basic values of kindness, decency, and courtesy.
Ultimately, this entire episode, from the post itself to the backlash from both parties, and then the responses from two different presidents, it really leaves us with a huge question, doesn't it? In the heat of a political fight, where do we draw the line between a political strategy and just the basic level of decorum we expect from our leaders? And maybe more importantly, who gets to decide when that line's been crossed?